Welcome back, Forts fans, to the Forts Official Tournament 21 replay commentary here on Synergy Gaming TV. We are going to bring in some good action. I got some reports from some of the players that this is one of the best tournaments so far to hit the game of Forts. So we're going to make an attempt here and see if we can make any good content out of this, doing a little bit of replay commentary. I, again, have not seen the results of the tournament. I know nothing about it, so you guys are going to get a genuine commentary experience. So, without further ado, let's introduce our players. On the left-hand side, playing Pinch Fist, it is the #1 ranked Forts player in the world, Etan. And his opponent on the right-hand side, playing Firework, it is Bloodparasite. So, we are playing on one of the new maps that I can't remember the name. The link for it will be in the description so you guys can take a look at the map. You don't need to. It's one of the Forts map-making tournaments. Maps, is it Battlegrounds? I can't remember. Battle something, maybe? Anyway, very cool map. Let's talk about it a little bit here real fast. You can see that we have, it's very similar to Moorings in the sense that it's a wall-mounted base, but you have cool expansions up and down. Now, this is something we've talked about quite a bit in the streams and on my channel about designing maps that have expansions. Mainly because it's a very interesting mechanic added to the game, is deciding when to make that expansion and when to involve spending those resources rather than making weapons. So you're making the gamble of building and spending resources to get to more resources, or you're going to not do that and produce more weapons. So there's interesting gameplay situations happening here. Fantastic. Bloodparasite fires off a couple of those Firebird incendiary mortars, which are absolutely deadly. Absolutely deadly. So good. Probably my favorite weapon in the game of Forts right now is Firebird incendiary mortars. They're just so good. Unfortunately, though, it's looking here like Bloodparasite needs to deal with this gunner here right now. This Gary sitting in this entrenched little cabinet, little cubby hole here right now. Gary just chilling. Needs to put in a little fire of his own there, a little fireplace to get a little kitchen in there because he ain't going anywhere. Cool. One of the mortars hits right there, dealing tons of damage. Takes out the sniper. Etan here, trying to put out the fire. Looking good. This is what we like to see. This is what we like to see. This is a good match so far. Lots of pressure being put on here by Bloodparasite. Is he going to be able to continue that pressure, though? This is something that we've seen quite a bit in the Forts community, is typically with early aggression players. Now, keep in mind, I want to make a note here. Keep in mind that these are some top-tier players, but typically it's usually when players go in for that really early game rush, they end up getting maxed out on APM and aren't able to add additional DPS, and then eventually the opponent just manages to out DPS them and usually takes the victory. So hopefully here Bloodparasite's going to be able to maintain some consistency here. He's selling off some of his incendiary mortars and moving them up here. This is going to give him that opportunity to get some energy production there. Looking good. Buzzsaw coming across here. Bloodparasite, I think, has just realized that there is metal there now and his buzzsaw is not going to work. So, what would be good here is to keep this on the back burner. Just keep it there, just chilling, and when there's an opportunity to get a good shot off, that's when he wants to take it. But hopefully what'll happen is, excuse me, Etan will forget that buzz... No, it's not. He's going to use it there and take it out. Okay, so, essentially, though, just leaving that there, that buzzsaw there, and then, you know, hopefully eventually Etan forgets about it, does some crazy building jank, and then buzzsaw, bing, bing, bada boom. This is pretty sweet. Look at this. Little sneaker in there. Little sneaker. Warhead coming out early. This is not going to look good for Bloodparasite here at the moment. He's going to need to make sure he's got his visual scanning up. He needs to make sure that he's checking out what Etan's doing and having gunners in place ready to go. It looks like he is right there. I think he scoped it out. We got gunner. We got gunner. We got gunner. This guy... Unless there's a door there. So this is that situation here right now. You can see that Bloodparasite is making that transition into energy tech. He's going to go for some lasers. And we're going to start seeing some big DPS there. Etan deciding to stay on tier 1 here right now was a little bit on the defensive, spent a lot of his resources kind of defending and getting things ready to go. He decided to make that expansion, which is why you see him down a little bit on weapons in terms of DPS overall. But we do know that Etan has some of the best sniping APM in the game, and we're going to see him put those snipers to work and try and get those resources balanced out. Now, some of you guys are wondering, you see these things on the side here. We've got the overlays of the commanders and their energy. Unfortunately, the resources is still bugged. when it comes to relays and the resources, it usually sits up here, is attached to the replay overlay, and it ends up like down here and you can't move it. It gets stuck. So unfortunately for this tournament, we're not going to have the resources available, but we will have the commander and their charges ready to go so that you guys can see how efficient the players are at using their commander abilities, and tactical if they're letting them stay full for quite a while. Oh. So really good to see in a tournament here that we're not seeing Pinch Fist all the time. Again, this is something the developers have done very little to make adjustments to, is the commander balance. We talk about this basically all the time, so hopefully with the new DLC on its way, we will start to see some changes to the commanders, and hopefully there'll be more consistent changes and keep that meta adapting. Great shot coming in here. Warhead come down across the bottom, and there are a million Garys. They should all be fired because they missed. Holy crap, they did manage to get it. Managed to get it. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to start seeing a little bit of pressure coming out of Pinch Fist. And then whether or not Bloodparasite's going to be able to capitalize on having Firebird here. We activated Firebird's ability. We're going to have some fires. You can see right there Etan spamming that R key and getting those fires put out here. Unfortunately, not enough DPS out there right now. Look at that snipe from Etan. Little gunner fire there, goes blah blah blah. Etan's like, oh, I'll just use my hotkeyed sniper and blow it up. Great mortar connection right here in the middle, dealing some damage. We do have access to reactors. The reactor health though, so we can see that. Resources is the only thing that's not working correctly right now. That may or may not be for other replays. It's just this one right now. But I'll make sure to keep you guys informed as we continue to do these replay commentaries of this tournament. Again, this is the Forts Official Tournament 21. Make sure if you guys are new here, you hit that like button, hit subscribe so that you get notified when the next videos come out of this tournament. And hopefully it's a good one all the way through. Great shot there. Etan just doing a little bit of planking. See some background bracing. He just wants to make sure he can get a pick. Buzzsaw coming in here from Bloodparasite. Manages to break the connection. Unfortunately, we didn't quite get enough broken. Great mortar connection here. We still haven't hit the core though, so no core damage. We do need to hit the F8 key just so I can synchronize my timing. We are up to 7 minutes, which means we've used 6 minutes so far. You guys will have a proper overlay for the countdown timer. I just don't have one in the replay other than the little F8 thingy up here in the corner. So far, so good. Believe it or not, Firebird has actually been putting in some serious work here right now. That extra fire that comes from firing those gunners and just lighting this stuff on fire, very, very useful. It's doing quite a bit of damage. That's a lot of resources spent right there. Gunners are firing out everywhere. Manages to get that nuke. Well played. Garys are putting in their works. These guys need a raise or a promotion or something. They're doing fantastic. We have this swarm launcher here. Is just getting ready to reload. This is a good position for one, but you can see here, the players, it's very interesting to watch top tier players in many cases, because rather than choosing economy, they choose more DPS. So that's one of the decisions that is very important for those of you guys that might be new players here, is learning when you want to go for DPS and when you want to go for additional resources. Now, typically resources is almost always the right option. It's very hard to lose when you have more metal than your opponent. However, there are situations when your mechanical skill is good enough, like players like Etan and others in this tournament, where you have that ability to manage to suppress your opponent, where you'll end up just floating metal for the most part. Not necessarily floating. They're very good at using it, but you'll have more metal than you need, and there's a fine balance. There's a fine balance between finding out how much metal you need, a metal per second, and then making sure that you adapt your damage per second to that, right? Great mortars coming in here, still doing some great splash damage here at the moment. Etan's just managing to use basically tier 1 technology to apply a lot of pressure here. Getting another launcher coming out here. It's very smart of Etan there. You can see how he flipped it right side up. This is one, because they're gonna shoot down and hit his base, but two, it's also gonna let swarms come from one angle, and then swarms are gonna come from another angle, and that's gonna be good for the gunners. You're gonna have to have more gunners in more places to make sure that you can hit more targets. Now, I think in this case, this is one of those situations that we want to see excuse me, that we want to see Bloodparasite make that expansion up here. You can see that he's on the defensive right now, but making this expansion up here and kind of holding off the way he is and gaining some additional metal resources could be a very strong possible solution here to give him that upper hand. I don't think at this specific moment that Bloodparasite has that mechanical skill to compare to Etan, so you can make up for that with additional resources. So as you're missing shots, or as you miss a snipe, or as you miss a fire beam shot, you'll have the resources, the additional metal and the resources needed to make those repairs, and can give you that ability to make the comeback. Great pressure coming here from Etan here at the moment. Bloodparasite is coming up with some strategies here right now. You can see him he's kind of like fluttering here just a little bit. He's not really doing anything but being on the defensive. He's got this fire beam here that's putting in some serious work so far, but I can guess that he's going to be relatively low on the resources currently, and this is something that is going to play as a factor. Great shot there from Bloodparasite. His fire beam manages to take out all those gunners up there. That's absolutely fantastic. We'll have a replay of that one here pop up in just a second. Again, you can see that Etan is firing his mortars like this on purpose. Just so you guys know, he's got one shooting up and then two more aimed correctly at the base. This is usually done on purpose to try and bait out one of the gunners. We got some splash damage on Bloodparasite's core here right now. This is going to be a winning victory here for Etan so far. For those of you guys that don't know the rules and regulations for this, obviously the person who destroys the other core is the winner. If they go into tie-breaker circumstances, it is then based on who has done the most core damage is the victor, and if the core damage is exactly the same, then it goes into who's done the most damage overall. And then there was another tiebreaker if it happens to be exactly the same damage. There was another tiebreaker as well, but I don't think it's relevant because that's next to so impossible for that to ever happen. You can see here Bloodparasite finally making that progress. He needs to make it... Okay, interesting choice there for bridge. I kind of like that, though, because it's going to keep... typically, you want to build your bridges arched, right? But he's going to keep maintain a grid pattern here. Nice timing. Is this close enough? Are those going to dissolve? They are. Nice timing there with the fire beam. So, but keeping this vertical rather than building a bridge and creating a weak pressure point here, he's going to build up like this instead, which is actually relatively smart. Fire beam coming in here, not hitting a whole lot here though. He's kind of wasting these at the moment. You can see Etan has got the perfect fire beam defense. For those of you guys that want to know a little bit more about defending fire beams, check out the top 5 ways to deal with fire beams in your ranked matches. It's a tutorial video that I put out on YouTube. Link will be down below in the description. If you guys want to know more about fire beams and how to deal with them, check that video out as well. More mortars up here for Etan here. This is looking pretty darn dope YOLO swaggins. And firing them both. I don't know if I agree with firing 3 of them up like that. Unless he's trying to get them dialed in to come down back here. That could be what he's doing. I do agree with having them at 2 different trajectories. I'm just not sure if he's using a whole set of them to bait or not. We will see here in a moment. All right. So far, we're looking pretty good here. Fire beam coming in there, doing a little bit of damage. Again, though, Bloodparasite not utilizing those fire beams quite enough here. Needs to make sure he hit those resources. Try and hit those mines. This is going to be really important here. I'm liking the buzzsaws. We're starting to get some incendiaries here. This could be a good turning point here for Bloodparasite. Everyone's kind of chilling. You can see Etan there was doing some tab spamming, 1E, 2E, 3E to get a little bit of those volleys happening there. I think Etan is trying to get this dialed out just a little bit further. I think that's what his goal is here, which would be expected. I couldn't imagine someone like Etan firing a volley of 3 mortars up for no reason. I think he's just trying to get them dialed in to come downwards on top of the base. Smoke launchers coming out everywhere. We've got fire, we've got smoke, we got all that which we desire. Did I say that right? Did I get that right? No, I got the lyrics wrong. I butchered that really bad. That's embarrassing. Fire beam coming across. Again, hit some sandbags. That's really disappointing. Mortar's still not quite in place. I don't know if Etan's adjusting those or not. Maybe if he sees this, he can leave a comment in the video description and let us know exactly what his thoughts were on those. Coming down, 1 minute remaining in the game. That was the countdown timer, 60 seconds. Splash damage coming down here, smoke launchers everywhere. Obviously, repair stations to deal with that smoke. That is the right key there. However, it's very important that you manage to shoot down any projectiles that are coming in here to do splash damage, because you'll go broke. We know this. Fire Beam still not hitting very much here. Unfortunately, I think aiming at the economy here would have been the right choice. Not only that, but it's incredibly expensive to replace those mines. Using those fire beams to take out the mines, I think would have been the right choice here. Gunners aren't firing here. We're gonna have a serious situation. Oh no, that's not looking good here right now. Bloodparasite definitely on his back foot. Smoke is in the way. He's not able to build anything in that space here at the moment. We got some fire going on up here. We're gonna take out those. Fire over here as well. Yeah, we got a couple of those down. Seconds counting down. Woo! GG! What a match out of these guys. Absolutely fantastic. Wow. Good match here. It's nice to see a Firebird manage to put up a good fight against a Pinch Fist. As you guys know, Pinch Fist has been the #1 picked commander for over a year, and we haven't seen any changes regarding that. But it's really nice to see that the meta has adjusted a little bit, hopefully, and that Firebird was able to put up a good fight against a Pinch Fist. Guys, fantastic match between these top-tier players. Let's get ready for game number 2. This one is Etan versus Bloodparasite, Pinch Fist versus Firebird.